Hi, this is Carl, and welcome to another SMB Community Podcast. I'm joined once again by my brother Manuel, and I don't know if he's going to be there or there when the video is done, but we'll find out when we look at the recording. Anyway, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, and I don't know which side I'm going to be on, but I'll be here the whole time.
Okay. So at least we're not wearing the same shirt.
For now.
A lot of people know something about your background, at least in particular within the MSP community. So let me just give a tiny bit of it, and then I'll let you give a bigger introduction, as I always do. So Manuel has a great deal of training in process and in helping people figure out the best processes and procedures for whatever system that he happens to be working with. And he has an amazing variety of training in the world of technology, stuff that most people in our business never even imagine. And he came to work for me many years ago. It's now, I can honestly say, many years ago. And eventually became the president of the company that I owned at the time, and helped me dramatically improve our processes. And a lot of what you see in all of the stuff that I do and in all the stuff he does, a lot of it came out of that experience of running that company and running other companies who are managed service providers. And so for the last few years, he's been off in Florida, enjoying the good life, getting a little tan, and developing something that he's going to announce this week, and actually has announced as of yesterday. So tell us about what you think you're all about. Okay,
so what I think I'm all about, I'm still trying to figure that out actually in life, which is true for a lot of people. But and by the way, this is 13 years ago, and I know that because Laura and my anniversary is coming up in May, and we started hanging out together a couple months after I started working for you. So it's 13 years ago. And one of the things I always tell you, you know this, when I started to work for you, I was in my early 40s. I had never worked for any company ever more than about 2.5 years. And I think that like maybe 2 years and 7 months, I was either bored or wasn't challenged, you know, or just didn't like the company culture. And I worked for you for 6 years. And I think that says a lot about, you know, and it's not just nepotism. We liked working together. We talked almost every day. We had fun, you know, doing the majority of the things we did. There were some headaches and problems with clients. Most of it was because clients' demands and things.
Right.
But working for somebody for 6 years is because there's culture and you're challenged and you're having fun and all of that kind of stuff. And I've never worked for anybody, you know, since. So, right, that's actually the last job that I applied for. And I don't know that I'd ever go back, you know, but you know, my background, by the way, is, you know, I have degrees in electrical engineering, technology, and automation. And what they did is they took me around a lot of places in the United States, Canada, and even into Mexico. And I got to see the inside of a lot of different types of organizations at different sizes, but manufacturing plants and production plants. And my exposure, besides my training on process, my exposure to the different processes in different, like you say, different realms that most people just don't even consider, is something that really I boast. It's what allows me to boast about the fact that I consider myself an expert in process control. And that applies to machines as well as it does to software, as it does people, processes, you know, and everything else. And, you know, and I think that the hands-on experience with working at a lot of different companies and coaching them, it just compounds that. You know, you know, what you are is this makeup of all the things that you've learned, you know, so.
Very cool. Well, so you've been coaching, you've been writing, so show off your big book.
Oh.
So the Getting to the Next Level. So Getting to the Next Level, you've been working on that a couple of years, and it certainly shows. It's a high quality book. It's it's thick, I would say. It's dense in the sense that there is just an unbelievably large amount of information there. And, you know, I'll be honest, I told you, now I'll tell everybody else, I thought it should be 2 books or, you know, just a little bit lighter. And you were like, no, I want every single thing that goes into my world vision about how you deliver amazing tech support and customer service and have a great culture. I like it's all united. You can't separate it out, and it's all got to be here. And so it is quite accomplishment. And I certainly encourage people to pick that up, either on a Kindle or as a paperback.
Yeah, and oddly enough, if I could have said let's print this in color, because the graphics that are in here, there's a lot of time spent in that. There's some really cool graphics, and you get the PDF version, you can see these graphics, and they're beautiful. They're slide deck quality graphics that, and I encourage you, right? If you do, go build your business company culture and everything else, and rely on them, because they're really good graphics, but they're very specifically designed to support the mindset of what I was trying to get across in the book. And I take what you said as a compliment, because it does mean a lot to me. I think if it did, I could see that it could have been broken into 3 sections, but I still can't see it being broken into separate books. Because someone put one part of it down, they'll miss another part, or they may never get to the third.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my 4-volume set, which is that thick if it was one book, and so.
But it's not a continuing story. But it
still breaks my heart when somebody orders just volume 3.
People do that?
All the time.
Yes. Okay. Well then. Okay.
So, I have no explanation for it. But since the 4 volumes have different titles and they're sold separately, Anyway, but I totally get what you're saying. That at least if they bought it all, they could potentially read it all.
One of the pretense of the book is the pyramid of purpose and value, and I break it into 3 sections: culture, compass, and roadmap and strategy. And if I did break it into 3, like that, I could see people go we need to work on our culture first.
Right, exactly.
Right, and they go, and then like I say, there you'd have it. They'd never get the whole message. They work on this and think they've got it figured out, and they don't.
Right.
So.
Well, you probably make more money if they bought 3 different things. They would spend more money, but then they might only buy 2 of them.
Right. Well, and you know what? You remember this is this cornerstone thing that I built that describes how, like you said, when I look at a business, how it should be laid out and operate, and it goes hand in hand with my Getting to the Next Level project portal and how I do my coaching. So to me, this is the user's manual, right? If you try it on your own, do all of this, everything in here, and if it doesn't work, you come see me, because I'm going to step you through it. All of the same stuff. It's the user's guide,
So you left me sobbing on the side of the road. How many years ago was that?
It was 7 years ago. 7 years ago.
That 7 years ago? Wow.
2010, Laura and I
Wow. All right. Well, see, now I'm even more hurt. Anyway, so for 7 years, you've been off coaching other people. You did a part-time COO, right, position, as an outsourced COO. But you've been coaching companies, and I go around to my roadshow, and people show up and they go "Oh yeah, Manny's my coach, and he told me I should go here." I'm like, "Good for that." So you've got all of that knowledge and the kind of this holistic view of the world, and now you've decided to take that to the absolute next level. And what is that?
So if you're well organized, you look at these things that you want to create, these pieces in your world. And for me, the next piece is this thing called the MSP Pro Academy. And the idea is that, you and I both do the same thing. We bring on a client and we say, we want to give you the best of our knowledge. We want to teach you something. We either may feed them white papers or sign up for even one of your courses and say, go learn how to, work on set up your PSA tool. But some of the learning and training we do, we end up repeating it for their own personal use in their consumption. Some of it we can document, turn into a training video and things like that. And what I want to do is put together this thing called the MSP Pro Academy that's like the best of all of the pieces of running an IT-based business with the intent of becoming a managed service provider, basically because we know that model is the most, creates the most value for the customer, and is also happens to yield the highest return on investment for the IT provider themselves. But I also want to couple it with just enough business management classes that it's this whole well-rounded thing where any individual entrepreneur or team or company can go and say, we can go get all of the training we need to run a really good service delivery company, a really good service delivery department. We can figure out how to do the most basic, level 1, 200 marketing and sales, as well as some finance and all of that. But not just the training. I also envision it having a forums where people can go and talk about each of these different subjects, where they can say, look, this, and it's not housed in, out in the outer world. It's part of this thing where if you go do the training and talk with other people who've been through the same training, people who have the same interest, or whatever. And so this thing, the MSP Pro Academy, is basically, it's my next big thing, and
so is it primarily going to be courses that you'll be like offering up, courses that people can take, or? So
I think there's going to be 3 facets the way I look at it. There's the course material, which will be laid out like college or any other training courses that are laid out with testing and certification. But that's one component. The second component is going to be the resource library. Imagine if you take a course, you need your book on managed services in a month is part of the training. It's the required training material, or white paper, or white papers that you need, or any other books, documents, or templates, flow charts. All of these things that are really high level are in what we call the resource library. So that'd be the second component, and then the third component is all of the forums that basically for people to communicate and talk. And when I say communicate and talk and collaborate, remember there are people that'll show up that are they're there just for the conversation. There are others who have taken a course and are talking with other people who have taken a course. But that forum kind of rounds it out as, I guess you could call it a 3-sided, the courses, the resource library, and then the forums.
And is this all live or recorded?
It's all recorded, and the intention is that there may be some opportunities when you sign up for courses early on, by the way, that you can sit in on the recording of, like when we create a new course, we want people to sit in as a live audience, like a virtual audience, and give us the feedback and consume it. And then we cut it up, turn it into a course. But the ultimate delivered product will be basically consume as you go, or self-paced training,
right?
Videos with backed up by.
And I know the answer to this question, but I'll ask it anyway. So, are you teaching all of these courses?
Well, no. I'm going to teach the first initial courses to get it off the ground, and they're courses that I kind of call signature courses of things that I've kind of conceived and wrapped things around. 10 Golden Rules of PSA, working and tracking time, and this new thing that called Agile Service Delivery. But then after that, I want to get people involved. Like, I just had a call with Gil Cargill the other day. He's interested. Maybe even Eric Simpson, who spoke with James Kieran. I want to get Rayanne Bucchianico. I want to get the best people in the industry to help me put together the best courses. And so it's going to expand, and I think it's going to be very well rounded with instructors and contributors. Very cool. So the Academy is being built. So that's what you announced this week. Yeah.
That it is going to be built. You're in the process of building it, but how can people help you?
So the one way or the other, I'm going to do it. It's going to take a little longer if I don't have what we call basic ground level funding. So I launched a thing called an Indiegogo campaign, and it's very well laid out. You can, we'll put the link on the video, but the idea is that you go to the Indiegogo campaign and you can sign up, like get early bird membership, or buy courses at the deepest discounts you were ever going to be able to get them. And even vendors could buy in on advertising. And the revenue is going to allow me the time space to go get the equipment I need and set up and get the first several courses laid out really, really well, so that we can show the quality level of this, get people interested, and then we move on to the next phase. We figure out which is the next class, and it might be one you're going to teach, or Rayanne's going to teach, Eric, whoever else, and we add that. And the idea is, if the funding goes well, the trajectory of this thing is basically a lot steeper,
Right.
headed towards the sky, So, but as I say, even if we don't get any funding, this is the what do you call it? The incubator, the MSP Pro Academy. You could go there right now, log in. You could get on the forums. You could look at all the sample courses and things like that, and basically start looking around, because it's only going to get more mature from here.
Right. So this is, also something I did with my 4-volume set is, right, I can produce this in a long period of time or a short period of time.
That's really what it comes down to.
Just a matter of, do I have the resources I need? Because some of what you need, it's not just enough money so that you don't have to take on 7 more coaching clients this week, but it's also, you need some equipment to make this happen, because you want high quality classes, high quality video, that sort of thing.
Yeah, some of the, even if it's money to cover getting the Adobe suite to be able to do certain editing and things like that. At the higher end, if we hit our top level target, we'll be hiring people part-time to do video editing instead of us having to do it ourselves, and that's huge, because
right.
we were talking about, there are skill sets I have in a boundary of where they are, and I like playing with simple video editing that you can see on my YouTube channel or my commercial. But when it comes to this, we need people who can dictate how, no, this is how you do it. You lay it out like this. This is how your segues will be. All of that, and it creates a lot. It's a much more polished product, and we want, we don't want this to be expensive classes or ridiculous. We want them to be quality, because once they're put together, not a lot of the content is going to change significantly, and we want it to be presented really well, really sharp, and that only happens when you have people who do that as their core competency doing the editing. Right. Then the
same reason people hire us to do tech support.
Exactly. Yep.
So some of the people that you have as resources who will be teaching classes and so forth, they run, I guess, what might be called competitive adventures, right? They've got their own training. I could go get a course from Eric. I could get a course from James, right? Other people who are on there. So how does that work? How did you get them to say, hey, I will help you with this adventure?
Well, so because, what I'm doing is trying to make connections with people. And what I realized, and this as well, people like James Kiernan and Eric Simpson and Ray Ann, first off, I think they all have a very big dedication to what the community is out and needs. And I think Eric said it best, one of our calls we had a month ago. He said, what the people that we're trying to take care of need is, they need guidance and they need training, okay? And if Eric's the person to go to for sales, for example, or James is on marketing or whatever it is, we want to direct them in the right direction. And the MSP Pro Academy, I will say it again, it's about these core ground level things, and it's all of them. So like, for example, IT service management, some of the aspects of that, nobody teaches classes on that. And so I'll take care of those. And I'll even reach out to you or other people to help me with some of those that I know that you would teach well and need to get done. That's the laundry and the dishes. Right now, James, James, Eric, yourself, we all have our signature courses that we do on process, Eric on sales. And the MSP Pro Academy is going to say, level 100, the basics, and 200, you get here. But level 300, when you need somebody to help you implement it, or you need a 300 or 400 level class, that's when you go to the specialists like Eric and James and Carl and Manuel. And so, again, I think I made the comment, I don't want this to be anything more than what's in this box, that you need to run and manage a really good MSP. It's all the level 100, 200 stuff. We're not going to get into 300 and 400 level courses. That's when you go to the experts. And that's why they're willing to do that, because they see that value is great. I don't want to make the basic course on how to do this. I want to make a course on, okay, so you got that figured out. Let's get to the next level. They're doing the 300 to 400 level stuff. And we want to spread the word about where to go to get that best,
right,
that best of breed training.
And I love the fact that it kind of reminds me of the days when we had a much more cohesive community in the managed service world. And, some of that was around the small business server. And so, that going away and a bunch of people getting old, like, I don't know how you have been gone 7 years when it's really 4, but time slips away when you get old.
So 2010, Laura and I went to Europe for 4 months and then came back to Florida, not to California.
Okay, yeah, I believe it.
It's 7 years.
I'm just saying.
7 years.
In my brain, it's only 4 years ago. So here's a question about, the kinds of people that you think might benefit from this. Is this primarily geared for people with 5 to 10 employees, or 7 and above, or one-man shops, or because there's a lot of courses you have outlined, and it would take me forever to go through all of them, right?
Yeah, and it's going to take us, and by the way, it's also why I want to get other people involved, not only because I want a good, robust group of people putting the content together. We have a lot of stuff to cover, right? And I think we know, Rayanne has got a niche in what she knows about finance and Autotask and PSA, and everybody's got their niche. But when it comes to consuming it, I think that it will be appropriate, honestly, for any level of business. That if you think about the 100 level courses, there are people who are entrepreneurs out there who have decided they own their own job. They basically said, I can do this better than my company. However they got in there, and they went out and they started doing this on their own, but they don't really understand how the org infrastructure of a business should work. And they should be able to get a quick, down and dirty, easy class on that relative to managed services or IT service providing. So, by the way, this is also not only for MSPs. It's called MSP Pro Academy, but it's really any company running an IT service delivery business, because the agile service delivery methodology that I prescribe and some of the other things, they're part and parcel to how to run a service delivery, whether it's one person operation, 25, 50, 75 and on. So I think that, and by the way, I will take a second. The MSP Pro Academy, part of what guides anybody that joins and signs up for classes is a thing called a learning roadmap that says, what's your role? Maybe we'll even have one that says, what size business are you to start with? And then what's your role, or what function are you looking for? And it'll guide them what classes they need to take. So a solopreneur, is probably not going to take service coordination 2.0 or a 200 level class. But the 100 class will help them understand how to run the day-to-day operations of keeping their tickets from taking over their life and things like that. And I think it's going to be very well designed, and inherently will be very well suited for anybody from a solopreneur, on up the ladder.
So if somebody's a one-person shop, they might take a little longer to get through it. But if they got 5 people, somebody can take sales and somebody can take service delivery. And obviously, you want your service manager taking one set of courses and your front office taking a different set of courses.
Yeah, and the general manager a different, a service coordinator a different set, and the solopreneur also. I think that it'll be easy to say that we could see a shortest path to getting up and running, which is this class, this one, this series, and then come back and work on the fill in between kind of thing. But that's what I'm going to need, help like with people like yourself and Rayanne and Eric, putting together those learning roadmaps based on the size of the company.
Yeah. So is there going to be a coaching component in that, or is that going to stay separate under the Manuel Palachuk Enterprises?
It's all going to stay separate. It's why I'm going to trademark the name. I've got a logo for the company and everything, and it's its own business unit. And I need to keep it separate because I want it to be autonomous, that people can come in here and say, look, I want to get my training, but I don't want to be like compelled that I've got to do coaching with Manuel or anyone else. It's there. You can basically reach out to any of the instructors, whether you took their course or not, and say, you know what, I see, I follow you on the forums and I like the stuff you put together. I've got your white papers or whatever else it is. And I need it to be just about what it's about, which is getting what I call excellence in IT service management training delivered to people who need that to get their business to the next level.
Right. So if I go to MSP Pro Academy right now, is there a link to the Indiegogo campaign there?
Yeah, there's a link on the front on the main page. I think we've even got a rotator ad going through saying, hey, support us in that, link to it. And then of course we've started up. We don't have a lot of flow, but the MSP Pro Academy has launched a Facebook page and a Twitter account. So
okay, so you're gonna send me all those links. I'll stick them down.
all of those links, yeah.
Excellent. So, all right, and then since we touched on it, let's go ahead and dive into your coaching practice. So I only take a couple of clients at a time, and I try to be as expensive as I think I can get away with. That's just the way I am. But so a lot of times I send people to you, and it's primarily because you offer a variety of options where I only have one option. I have take it or leave it. So it's what they call Hobson's choice, right?
That's right.
It's an option that's not really an option. So anyway, and taking 2 clients at a time, it's really, I get full quick. So tell us about kind of what are some of your coaching programs and what people can expect.
So I figured that, I work with companies from literally a few 100,000 to multi-million. And I think one of my biggest is probably only 25 million. It's a pretty big company and they got a lot of people. And what I decided to do is put together an array of coaching options for them based on what level of engagement they need. So smaller companies, I need to talk to somebody once a month and I need access in between, coaching calls. And I call that the essentials, or it's, like a coach on call basically. All the way up to what I call the strategic, which is literally where every single month plus a call related directly to finances. And the range of those programs basically they're just about more how frequently we have coaching calls. And as you move over, of course, to the right, to the higher level of engagement, there are a lot more benefits. Things like, many of them include my getting to the next level project portal, which is the methodology I use for running people's their business strategy, literally running it like a project. Things like Coralytics financial dashboard. I'm a Coralytics advisor, and they're neither necessary or included in the lower level packages. So the idea is I put it together where the higher level of engagement, the higher costs, but significantly more benefits along the way as you move over.
But you do have several people who are literally one-person shops.
I have people that are one-person operations, yeah.
And you also, I'm really impressed with, while nobody was looking, you have clients who've been with you for like 5 years.
Yes. One of my oldest clients is in the UK. They're coming up on their 3rd year anniversary. I've had clients that have repeated work with me. And I think it says a lot about, the value of my engagement, and I have actually, I have one client was with me I didn't make it to 5, it was 4 years. And actually he just recently, I won't say he moved on, but he's made a lot of progress and he's like taking a breather, and I'm like, no problem. Right. But he's also, I still talk with him every month on a coach's huddle. And,
right.
And we have
the last SMB community podcast was I was talking to my coach, my life coach, Debbie Leone, and one of the things we talked about is like sometimes in coaching you get to a certain point and then you're like, all right, let me go do something else for a while, and I'm going to wander back or find another coach or whatever. And actually on our coaching call we talked about well, I might refer somebody to you, you might refer somebody to James, and James might refer somebody to Eric, and it's sort of like it's more important for people to have the right thing that they need right now, and know that we as a community are here when we become the thing that they need next.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm gonna I guess boast about it. We have run completely different programs. People don't realize that. They're like, I want to coach with Carl, and they talk to you about what you offer and how you do things. And then they go look at mine and they're like, they're completely different. Right. I have zero, I have no signed contract, no requirement to coach with me, but it's month to month. And I have never had a client that coached with me less than 9 months in 5 years. And like you say, and I have some clients who have been with me,
right. And I won't let you coach with me for more than 6 months.
Right. And I suspect that we attract, I don't know that we've ever had the same client. I have many of my clients come to your events, like my one gentleman who's down, and he's going to come down to LA. And interestingly enough, I get on a call with him today and he goes, Laura hands me a note, says, let him know that I moved his where he's going to show up at the event from one location over to LA. And I'm like, he's going to Carl's thing? Okay, right?
So, all righty. Well, sadly, we're out of time. I told you this wouldn't take very long. Folks should check out MSP Pro Academy. They should check out your Indiegogo campaign. They should check out, and is it just ManuelPalachuk.com?
My site is just ManuelPalachuk.com. And then
coaching. And I hope that people will sincerely do what I have already done, and that is contribute to your Indiegogo campaign. I want to see the MSP Pro Academy come to life, and the sooner the better. So thank you for your time.
And thank you all.